Welcome to the Burrow.
A podcast where we discuss our favourite books and have a bit of a laugh. Hi, I'm Chloe.
And I'm Megan. Or Meg. I use any pronouns, and I'm from Canada.
I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from the UK.
Hey, how are we doing today?
Yeah, pretty good actually. I'm going to the cinema later to see
Oh, yeah.
Don't Worry, Darling, which has had like a lot of drama around it. I don't know if you know about it.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's that It's that Olivia Wilde film with Harry Styles and Florence Pugh in it. And there was like a lot of drama between, I think, Florence and the director, and yeah.
And then
But it looks kind of interesting. It's like a psychological thriller, so I think it should be good.
okay, maybe I'll watch it once it comes
Yeah, I've seen some clips on it, and I can't figure out what accent Harry is trying to do. If it's supposed to be American or English, I don't know.
wait, has he been in other films before? I think.
He was in The Eternals for Marvel, but I never watched it because apparently it was really bad.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
don't
he's not really a big actor.
I don't think so. There was like this funny clip of him at like what's it called? It was at the festival where Aristotle and Dante premiered. It's Toronto Film Festival. And there was like they were doing press, and I think someone asked him what he liked about acting, and his answer was something like, I just love acting. Something like that. It was like really stupid, something like that, and it was really funny.
Okay. Very solid answer.
I know. I mean, also, question.
Yeah.
How would you say Toronto? Toronto or Toronto? Like you personally?
Me? Toronto.
Okay.
Why?
Because I've seen like, I think I saw this clip where like the right way to say it is like Toronto, which is basically without pronouncing your T's. Like that's
Toronto?
how people from there say
I
it.
use a T. Toronto.
Yeah, so do I.
I think it depends on where you're from in Canada.
Yeah, but
like,
if you're from like actually Toronto, I think it's Toronto, which just I don't like. But sure. What have you been up to?
Well, I woke up like not too long ago, but it's reading week for me next week, which I'm so excited for because I want to sleep.
Oh my god.
What's happening? I'm hanging out with a friend. We're gonna be baking muffins.
Oh.
And then Thursday I'm going to be there's the GESA, or I'm not sure, the like geology and forest ecology and like major like section of my school is doing a painting night.
Oh, that's nice.
Like 6:30, I think 6:30 to 8 or something. And I got invited to it, so I'm going to that.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, and then immediately after, one of my friends who's in the physics association, apparently the physics and the math and stats association are doing a little collab.
Oh, cute.
For an infrared event at a pub.
Oh.
So I'm going to that.
You're so social, wow.
I know. Sometimes I get too social and I want to like throw up. Like I feel like actually sick.
I know what you mean. Sometimes like when I like do stuff too much, I just need to lay in my bed for like a couple days and just not do anything.
Yeah, like I can be like extroverted, but sometimes it gets too much.
Yeah. I can't relate with the extroverted side, but the too much part, yeah. But recently, I don't know if I said it on here yet, but I've started a book society at my uni with my friend.
I don't think so.
We have our first meeting in a couple of weeks, which is very exciting.
Yay! So exciting. We had our I wasn't able to go to the first meeting, but the second meeting we had for the QSA, which is the Queer Student Association. And it was pretty good. We talked about like events that are happening.
Cool.
And we're doing like a potluck in November. So it was really fun, really cool.
So basically we're just very productive.
We are very productive. I also need to measure my room.
Measure your room?
Production stage management things.
Oh, I was like, are you getting like new furniture?
No, I need to measure like the room itself.
Oh,
like the walls and doors and everything.
Ooh.
Also, talking about new things, I just want to mention
Hmm.
The art piece that my friend did in the background.
Oh, I like
Which I
that.
want to promote it because it's like amazing. I love it.
What
I
friend
can't
is
really
that?
Salem.
Oh,
I've
okay.
mentioned them.
At university, we're doing this project with music and the first year performing arts, where like
Mhm.
there's this kind of museum house in the center of town,
Okay.
and we're doing like a spooky event for like younger children.
Hmm.
So, which is in about 2 weeks, I think, like just before Halloween. So
Okay.
that's what we're working on now, which is pretty cool.
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 So we're gonna go into the Canadian and UK discourse. Can I mention the thing that we were talking about? It's not Canadian UK discourse, but I don't have any other.
Okay, I'll allow it.
You allow it? Okay.
Yeah.
So we have. Oh, actually, I can mention Thanksgiving, because that's
Yeah.
a.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we
I can
haven't
mention
talked
that.
about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure we talked about that before.
I forgot you guys do that.
Yeah. I think it's typically like American thing, but we also do it here. Like the original reasoning for it is it's really bad.
What is it?
I think it's something to do with like slavery.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Oh my
Oh no,
god.
no, no, it's not slavery. I think it's with the indigenous people.
Oh, so it's some okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Like everyone's like, oh, the pilgrims came, and then they had like a really lovely like, you know, getting like celebration with like the indigenous people, and I'm like, and then you realize it's actually not that. They're
oh
just trying
wow.
to make the pilgrims and those people seem like really, good and nice, and they weren't. Yeah, but
Yikes.
anyway, we don't celebrate for that. We celebrate because we're just like thankful for like our family and whatever.
Yeah. I still think for me, I kind of think it's pointless because it's so close to Christmas, and that's basically what Christmas is for us. Like just celebrating like family, friend, basically what you do at Thanksgiving
Yeah,
is why we because obviously Christmas is religious as well, but it also serves that
yeah,
purpose of like being grateful for what you have and all of that stuff. Because Thanksgiving dinner is basically Christmas dinner
I know.
for
But like
us.
for us, I know in like America, in like the US,
Yeah.
their Thanksgiving is like in November, which is closer to Christmas.
Oh, is
I
yours
don't get
not?
No, I don't get that part. Mine's like next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So it's different and it's
Oh
fine. It's
wow, I didn't
better.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
still some time between.
Is that why you have reading week? Because it's Thanksgiving, is that why?
I think partly, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting actually.
Usually we would do like around like when midterms are,
Yeah.
but since it's like Thanksgiving, so we're like, oh, you just have like the week because they'll have more time to hang out with like family and stuff. But yeah, so
That's
Thanksgiving's
interesting
coming up,
actually. I
and
thought it was I thought it was the same time as American, so I was
no, it's
like,
different
I
here.
don't see the point
I don't
because
know why.
for Americans it's literally a month and then you basically do the same thing for Christmas.
Yeah,
So I don't know. That part doesn't make sense to me. But if yours is like sooner than that, then I think it's fair.
yeah, like we still have like I'd say like 2 months, because like we're maybe like we're like just in the beginning of this month,
Yeah,
and then Christmas is like near like the end.
end of
So
December.
so yeah, it's like 2 months.
That's
Yeah.
interesting, though.
Mm-hmm. We're quirky.
Okay, so for our next section, it's a book quote of the week.
Oh, yes,
Do
yes, yes.
you have one?
I do. Which one is it? Which one on the other side? Oh, here it is. It's from Solitaire, obviously.
Of course it is.
Um, it's there comes a point when you can't keep looking after other people anymore. You have to start looking after yourself, from Solitaire by I'm pretty sure it was Tori who said that. Or
I felt that like in my soul. I
yeah.
actually felt that.
I
Oh my
really
God.
like Solitaire because it has such like good quotes and good like messages to it.
That book, when I was rereading it, I
Hmm.
did not anticipate the emotions. I
I
forgot how
know.
emotional it was. By the time I was finished it, I was literally just staring at my ceiling, like, what am I supposed to do with
I
myself?
know. Like it's so good, but it's also like kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
speaking of, that segues into my quote, which
Oh,
is from Aristotle and Dante, because I couldn't pick
oh
one
my
quote.
God. Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Because later after we finish, I still have like 3 quotes from it, because
Okay.
everything in that book is, sorry, it's just so beautiful. But my quote is, I bet you could sometimes find all the mysteries of the universe in someone's hand. I feel like it's probably one of my
I
favorite
love that
quotes,
one.
like in general with books.
Mm-hmm.
Like at home, I had this little whiteboard that I put like book quotes on, and that's one of them on there.
Oh,
I don't know, I just think it's, I love it. You know how I love parallel universes and
I know
stuff.
you do. Yeah.
It's so cute. I love it.
It's like the quote from Heartstopper of I
Yes, I
think we
know.
would find each other in any universe.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
I
cute.
love that quote so much.
Do you know what I love? How you just what do you call it? Turn everything back to Alice.
Sorry.
No,
I
I love
just
it. I love it.
I love her book so much.
I'm just like, so I really like this book. Heartstopper. Let's talk about
Heartstopper. Solitaire, Loveless. I was born for this radio silence.
Heartstopper.
And
Did you
Nick
miss?
and Charlie in this winter.
Yeah, there you go.
And I have like essentially all the books. I just need the rest of the volumes.
Oh yes.
But I haven't even read like the like the physical version.
Oh, have you not?
No, I've read it like online so many times, but it
Yeah, but
just is there for the aesthetic.
you should read it.
I should.
Yeah, you have it, so read it. It's so much nicer to have a physical copy.
True, yeah, I like physical
Actually read a
copies.
physical copy. It's nice.
I like physical copies for like novels,
Really?
but for comics I'm okay with it being online.
Oh, I mean, I don't read that much comics, but I love
Yeah.
physical copies of everything. Like, I don't think ages ago when I was younger, I had like a Kindle and I had some books on there.
Mhm.
But I know I probably don't have that much space for books, but I love having like an actual book rather than an electronic one.
Mhm. Well, I don't know, the screen's always like way too bright for like a novel version.
Can't you just turn the brightness down?
But yeah, but still, I don't know, I just don't like it. For a
That's fair.
comic, at least there's like photos, so it's different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna move into our like main discussion, which is about Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. Chloe, why don't you start?
Yeah, cool. So the first section is called The Different Rules of Summer. So the book starts off in summer, and you first meet one of the main characters called Aristotle, who's nicknamed Ari. And he's kind of introduced as this like sarcastic 15-year-old boy
Mhm.
who like has a kind of like you said earlier, a kind of pessimistic view on life,
Yeah.
which I can definitely relate to at times. You're also introduced to his family, and his mum is a high school teacher. And then his dad is an ex-Marine who was at war and is now kind of dealing with the wounds of going to war and the PTSD and like all the stuff that comes with that. So he's kind of feeling detached from his dad in a way,
Yeah,
which you'll kind of see a lot more later in the book. And then he also has twin sisters who are a lot older than him. And then he has an older brother who is in prison, which again, you'll see like a lot more how that affects him emotionally in the book, because his brother in the family isn't really talked about. It's kind of acted like he's not there, like he never really existed, which obviously if you're his brother, that's gonna like really make you feel upset that he's not being talked about.
Yeah.
Which really does affect him later on in the book as well.
Well, yeah, it's like a big aspect.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, in terms of his emotional state and how that like changes, like how it reaches like a low and then it goes back up high. It's kind of like I'd say kind of a roller coaster, this book of emotions, definitely. So during this summer, his mum kind of makes him go out because she wants him to be like a normal teenage boy. So he goes to the pool and he doesn't actually know how to swim, so he's kind of like in the shallow end, just kind of dipping his toes in the water and stuff, trying to figure out how to swim, but he doesn't know how. And then I also have this quote from, I think it's a lifeguard or one of like the boys at the pool, where he's like, a girl is like a tree covered with leaves, you just want to climb up and tear all those leaves off.
I
And
remember
that's
that
like
quote.
really
That quote made me so uncomfortable.
yeah, I think it's like Ari is like kind of picking out why he doesn't fit in with boys because they
Mhm.
say stuff like that, which is
Yeah.
like just super gross and inappropriate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had that little bit.
Love teenage boys.
And then a little quote from him when he says it's better to be alone and miserable, which 100% just sums up his character.
Mhm.
I know. So he's just kind of like floating around in the pool. Obviously, again, he doesn't know how to swim.
Mhm.
And then we have Dante who comes into the scene, and he's like to him, "Oh, I can teach you how to swim if you don't know how." And the first thing that Ari recognizes or like thinks about when he first meets Dante is that he likes his voice, which I just think is
Aw.
interesting. And then Dante introduces himself, and then Ari just starts laughing because Aristotle and Dante are like two kind of ancient famous philosophers.
Mhm.
Like they're really like names with a lot of like historical meaning. And then they kind of explain, and then Ari actually says that his first name isn't actually Aristotle, but his first name is Angel.
Mhm.
Um, and then Dante kind of tells him that he used to try and go by Dan, like in school, but he
Mhm.
just felt that he was kind of lying and not being honest because that wasn't his actual name. And then Ari tells him that he just goes by Ari himself, and then Dante kind of uses it and is like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you, Ari."
Aw.
And Ari just kind of has this internal thinking of, I like how he really means it when he says nice to meet you,
Mhm.
because obviously a lot of the time people say it, but it's kind of like a formality. It's not like
Yeah.
it's nice to meet you, it's just a, oh, whatever, it's nice to meet you. It's not like they really
Yeah.
actually mean it.
It's like at my
So
work when because I'm a cashier, so I talk to people a lot. It's kind of like an automatic thing where I'm like, "Hi, how are you?"
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's very true actually. um and then all summer kind of you see them hanging out more, they swim, they go to each other's houses, they read comics and books, and they have a lot of debates as well, similar to how we argue.
We argue so
um
much.
I know, but it's good arguments. They kind of
Mm.
argue about like books and stuff like that, but Dante always wins because
Oh yeah.
he just has this kind of, he can, I don't know what it is, like a kind of debate skill that kind of makes people kind of side agree with him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then Ari just gives out in defeat. So an example is Ari likes Spider-Man better, Spider-Man, Batman, and Hulk, but Dante found that it was too dark, which definitely speaks volumes about their two characters.
Yeah.
Where Ari is more kind of, he's dark and he's kind of just suffering emotionally, which he
Yeah.
doesn't deal with. Then you have Dante, who deals with it differently. He has like this really positive kind of light outlook
Mm.
on life. So they're two like polar opposites, but their friendship as it develops, it kind of just works, which I love because it's that thing of like opposites do really attract.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, he never wins an argument with Dante. He always just
Mm.
loses them. So they have like a ton over the summer, they have a ton of interesting conversations. They also ride the bus a lot, and Dante kind of starts this like game of, let's just like make up what the people in the bus are saying, let's make up their life stories.
I want to
uh,
mention something.
mhm.
That reminded me a lot of They Both Die at the End.
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, because they do that on the train system on the tube. I'm not sure what they called it, but the tube or the
Oh, subway,
underground or
is it
whatever
subway
subway.
maybe? Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're in America. Yeah, I do that at, me and my mum, we do that at A&E, which is like the accident emergency at the
Oh yeah,
hospital,
yeah.
because there's so many interesting people, you're like, oh, what's going on there?
Ooh.
But yeah, so then after their forthcoming swimming lesson together, Ari goes to Dante's house for like the first time ever, and he meets his family. And Ari's like, when he meets them, he's like really respectful
Mhm.
and like really like kind and respectful and all of that.
Yeah.
And Dante's dad goes to Dante, you know, you should learn more from Ari and be more respectful. Because you kind of see Dante isn't rude, but he's just very like, I guess, blunt, and
Hmm.
the way it is the way it is with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
It
kind
makes
of funny
sense.
to see. But he has a really good relationship with his dad and his mum. They kind of just like tease each other, and it's really cool to see that. And also you learn that Dante is very bad at cleaning. Like the first time when Ari goes over, Dante's room is a complete mess. So Ari is just like on his bed reading a book of poems whilst Dante is just cleaning his room. But you would think you would clean your room before someone comes over, but
Yeah, you'd think so.
evidently not, because it seems like his dad has been telling him to clean it for a very long time and he just still has not done it. So kind of some stuff you see in his room are a guitar, like music. You can see like he's pretty artistic and really creative. So he also has a sketch pad, which Ari asks him about, and it's really clear that he doesn't show that to anyone. Like it's really personal to him, the stuff that he has in that sketch pad, which is very important later on in the story.
I'll be mentioning it, so.
Yeah. And then after that happens, a little bit later, Dante then goes to Ari's house and he brings over this really beautiful book of Mexican painters for his dad. Also worth noting that I don't think we've mentioned is that this is like a story, both of the main characters and their families are of Mexican like, descent, which I think is like really important, because most of the time when you're reading these like queer books, it's a lot of like cis white characters.
Yeah, I know.
And this is like really great for representation, I feel like.
That's why I really like Alice's books. I know I keep mentioning her books a lot.
No, I get where you're coming from.
So like diverse, so many different kinds of people in all her books.
Because it's not realistic for there to just be white people. Like if you were to go into a school right now, there's like tons of different people in there. Like it's not just like society doesn't just consist of white people. Like there's a bunch of different people, but yeah,
and
I think
it's not just cis people either.
Yeah, exactly. There's like more like non-white, non-straight, non-cis people in the world than you actually think.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good to have the representation for those people who don't like generally have it.
Well, yeah, like when I went to Pride this year, I don't know why, but I was like, I've gone to Pride before, but the amount of like queer people that were there was amazing. It made me smile so much.
I love
There's
that.
so many.
We love to see it. But yeah, so Dante brings over a Mexican painting book for Ari's dad, which his dad just falls in love with Dante after that. He's like, oh, that's just so nice. And then Dante offers Ari a Coke and he's like, oh no, I only drink tea and coffee, which is so funny to think of. Like, I think he was reflecting like, oh, I'm not a teenager because I don't like all this stuff. I'm just tea and coffee.
Sounds very, not to be stereotypical, but very queer to just coffee and tea.
Yeah. Oh, so then they go out to the desert, which is like a common location in this book, and they kind of do a bit of like stargazing with Dante's new telescope. And then we go into the little part where Dante talks about not liking wearing shoes, which is one of my favorite parts of the book, where he talks about not liking wearing shoes, which is one of the funniest parts, I think. I really like it. So he talks to Ari about this. He's like, oh, my mum makes me wear shoes, but I don't like wearing them. They're like a social construct and all of that kind of stuff. And then he makes up this game with him and he's like, oh, let's see who can throw our shoes the furthest. Basically just an excuse for him to not wear his shoes. And you kind of learn that Dante has a thing about telling the truth, that he doesn't like people who lie, that he really like values like honesty in a person. And then across the street from them, you see these boys with BB guns. Are they like toy guns? Like, are they real?
BB guns?
BB guns.
They're not exactly toys.
But like, could you kill someone with them or no?
I forgot. BB guns. I know someone where I live threatened someone with a BB gun.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's used for training or target practice.
Okay.
Can be used just for pest control purposes. or even hunting small game.
Oh wow, okay.
So
Okay.
I guess you can, yeah.
Yeah. So across the street they see these boys with BB guns. Shooting birds. So yeah, you can kill with them basically.
Yeah.
And then Dante shouts at them because he really he's sensitive as well, as another thing about him.
Mhm.
And he really likes animals and he doesn't like seeing people hurt them. Obviously, like that's not nice. And then Aristotle like runs after him and kind of threatens the boys and is like really kind of verbally violent at them,
Yeah.
which is kind of a change of pace of what we've seen so far with him. And then Dante is kind of looking at the whole thing and he's kind of realizing that Ari likes to fight, which Ari is denying when he brings it up, but you can kind of see that
Yeah.
in him, I feel like, when like he has the right kind of strong emotions and the right motivation, I feel like he would.
Mhm.
Especially because it was to do with Dante. I think if Dante wasn't there, he probably wouldn't have done that.
Oh,
But
probably
because
not.
Dante was so like upset about what they were doing, I think that's why he like went and kind of got rid of them, sort of thing.
Mhm.
So, and then they go over, the boys are gone, and they see the dead bird, and Dante just starts crying over it. I know. It kind of reminds me a little bit of They Both Die at the End with the animals. Do you remember?
Yeah.
A little bit of that I kind of reminded me of.
Why
But
are
like
dead birds such a thing?
it's symbolism. I feel like
I
it's
know.
really strong symbolism. Because if it was something else, I don't think it would be as strong. But birds, it just
Mhm.
like there's something about it, I think. But then they bury it because Ari sees how upset he is and he kind of helps him and then they bury the birds together. Um, and then I have this little quote from Ari, which is interesting, which says, Dante's face was a map of the world, a world without any darkness. Which I think this book is so beautifully like written.
Mhm.
And that quote is just like, because if you think about it, Ari is like the darkness, and then Dante, and to an extent, it's like the light to that darkness,
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of what that quote is saying, I feel like. And that, I don't know, I just love that. Um, and then we have, that's the first section of the book. And then another section of the book is called Sparrows Falling from the Sky. So again, you have that bird kind of imagery and symbolism that I feel like is pretty prominent in the book.
Yeah.
So you have Ari waking up, so he's in bed and he wakes up with like a really high fever, which turns out to be the flu. And you kind of, a lot of dreams whilst he's in this fever-induced sleep. And he has dreams of millions of sparrows falling like rain, which is like really like intense imagery. It's like they're just like
Yeah.
falling and falling
Really
down.
creepy.
And they keep falling down, hitting him. And then in his dreams, he also sees Dante crying, which kind of shows that emotional kind of attachment and bond he now has with him, like how kind of close they're getting,
Mhm.
that he's kind of made his way into his dreams as well. And then you have Ari like crying from the dream, like waking up and just like in absolute panic and like really scared.
Mhm.
And then you kind of see his dad picking him up and kind of calming him down, which I think is really lovely because you don't really see them like with a strong kind
You
of
know.
emotional connection like already in the story, so it's like really nice to see that.
Mhm.
He falls asleep again and has like a lot more dreams. He's looking for Dante, and then in other ones he's looking for his dad, which I think is really like resembles the real life of him, like looking for like his dad to kind of speak to him, for them to actually
Yeah.
like meaningfully talk instead of just it's kind of like a distant relationship, I feel like,
Mhm.
for a lot of the book. So he wakes up to his dad helping him to the shower, and he showers, goes back to bed, and then the fever is finally gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then his dad and him are kind of alone for a little bit. And his dad like asks him, because he was calling out in his dream, and he's like, oh, in your dream you were looking for me? He kind of like wanted to talk about it a little bit.
Mhm.
And then the response Ari comes back with is, I'm always looking for you, which is
Mhm.
like really sad.
Yeah.
Because like he's right there in front of him, but he's not really there.
No.
And obviously, I don't think it's really his dad's fault because he went through a lot of trauma, like whilst he was like in the Marines. Like obviously, you can't even think about how awful that must have been.
Yeah.
But like I don't think you really think about the aftermath for the family. So I think that's like really interesting. And then it's basically a thing of his mum just giving him literally so much water, so much chicken soup. And he's like, I think he speaks to him, he's like, oh my God, I'm being held hostage. Just basically a dramatic teenager.
Yeah,
Doing
classic.
the best. Exactly. Yeah, and then as I said, him and his dad talk a bit more about his dreams as well. And he apologizes for being like far away, even though he is obviously there, but kind of emotionally he's not with him. And then he also admits to Ari that he himself has bad dreams as well, which I think is nice. He's trying to connect with him a little bit more. And then kind of he asks his mum when he's feeling better, he's like, he asks her if she likes being a teacher, and kind of, even if the students are bad, do you still like teaching them? Which I think is him kind of asking about himself to his mum, not necessarily about her teaching. And then his mum says something to him, which is, I don't think you know how loved you are, which is like really, I don't know, that really makes me think. Because I think Ari as a character, he just, like you said, he is like really pessimistic, and he's kind of like really down and emotionally not okay, like not stable, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't realize how much people do actually love him and care for him, sort of thing. And then Ari finally calls Dante because now he's feeling a lot better, and tells him that he had the flu, which is why he wasn't around. And then literally 15 minutes later, Dante comes round to his house, which is, I just love that. It's so cute.
I know.
And he's barefoot, of course.
Of course.
Is it Dante if he's not barefoot?
I know, it's not.
That's a real question,
Yeah.
you know. I don't think so. And then because Ari is still feeling like a bit weak because he's just recovered from like a really intense flu, he's just kind of laying in his bed, and Dante is sketching him. And then he eventually leaves a drawing of, I think he has a rocking chair in his room of that, because Ari falls asleep because he's still really tired. And then he calls him later, telling him how much he loved the drawing. Even though it was just a simple drawing of a chair, he still like rang to call him to say how much he loved it. And what was interesting about it was he said to him that it's sad and it's lonely, and then Dante's like says, like you, like he's just so observant. I feel like he's like really kind of like a people watcher, because you know how they play that game on the bus. He really observes people and can like really tell kind of who they are as a person and like the emotions and stuff. He's really empathetic, I think I would say. Kind of, I feel like kind of explains his sensitivity as well. Like he's really sensitive to not only his emotions, but I think to other people's emotions as well. And then Ari had another dream again about his brother, which obviously he hasn't seen since he was like really young, so it's still kind of playing on his mind. And then his fever comes back again, which isn't very great. And then Dante visits again, the fever's still there. It's kind of like a repetitive thing of that, and the dreams keep coming. And then they eventually, him and his mum eventually go to the doctors, and they say, you're just going to have to rest and wait it out. Like it's nothing too serious because it is just the flu. And then he's finally recovered, and his mum finally lets him go outside, which is great. And he goes to the swimming pool where he finds Dante, of course. He walks back with Dante, I think, to his house, and then it literally starts to pour with rain, which obviously isn't great if you've just recovered from being super sick. Just to be stuck in the rain isn't a great choice.
No, it's not great.
So then they go to Dante's house, they get like dry and changed out of the wet clothes, and then Dante says they need to talk, which if I was told that, I would just start panicking, like, oh, that it sounds serious. And it's really not. It's really not, because it's just Dante being Dante, really. But he's like, oh, we should ask each other questions. That's what he wanted to talk about. Well, that's what it seems like he wants to talk about, but they kind of ask each other like favorite color, favorite song, you know, like kind of like standard get to know you questions. And then there's a quote I wrote down. I can't remember who said it, but it's nice mouth. And I just thought it was kind of a little bit gay, just a
little bit.
Little bit.
Itty bitty.
I think it might have been Ari who said it. I'm not too sure, but yeah, that just kind of stuck out to me, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? And then they both go outside, and then Dante reveals to him that he's leaving for a year because his dad got a job as a professor in, I think, Chicago. So they're leaving in 6 weeks. So basically, kind of by the end of summer, they're going to be gone for a year. And then after this, Dante notices a bird in the middle of the street, again with the bird imagery, who's trying to fly, but it can't because it's kind of broken. So it's just like in the middle of the road. It's alive, but like it's in the middle of the road. You know what's coming, don't you?
I know what's coming, yeah.
Yeah. So Dante walks up to it and tries to pick it up, and then a cur can't speak.
Can you speak?
I'm getting emotional. And then a car literally swerves around the corner, and Ari can literally see it, and just thought this was like another bad dream. You know, all the dreams he was having when he was in that fever. And there's like that repetition of the sparrows and the birds falling. And then that segues into the section that you're doing.
Yes. Okay, so my first note is it's really giving off they both die at the end energy. Like it really is.
Do you know what's interesting about that? Is that I read something with Adam, who's the writer of They Both Die at the End. He read this book and it really inspired him to write his book.
Okay.
Because obviously both of their books are Latino characters.
Yeah.
Because I think I said this on They Both Die at the End, but he didn't know that you could write characters of Latino descent, like just like a gay love story, because he'd never read them before. So
yeah, it's not really that common, honestly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with queer stories, I think. I mean, there's probably some straight kind of stories with like different people who like aren't white, but I think in terms of like queer stories, there aren't enough.
No.
So I didn't really know that's a thing you could write about because it's never been done before. Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, yeah, it gives off very strong, like they both die at the end energy. Because we talked about this before in the last book episode. In the beginning of They Both Die at the End, they give a bird a funeral, which then they bury it. Yeah, just like Dante and Ari did.
Oh yeah.
And then Rufus dies from a car, like getting hit by a car.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So it's very similar.
Although, just to say, none of them die in this book.
No, none of them die, but like.
But yeah, no. I see what you mean. I never thought about that before.
Okay, so immediately after like he gets hit, Ari saves him. He like leaps and pushes him out of the way, but he gets hit himself.
Yeah.
And they have to go to the hospital. Dante doesn't end up that bad, I don't think.
I think maybe a scratch or just like
he has like a black eye and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Ari is like messed up.
Isn't he like in full, not like a full body cast, but like
he's like casts, I think arms and
his ribs maybe as well.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously he's car, the impact of it, so that's very
it's a lot. And one thing, this really kind of like annoyed me, because Ari doesn't like when people get like emotional, but like his family was getting emotional, and Dante, which is valid because he nearly died. And Dante,
you know what?
Ari was like, "Don't cry," and I'm like, "Let your mom cry."
Do you know what? I think it circles back to that thing I said of he doesn't know how much people love him or care about him. So he's like, why are you crying? Like, I'm fine. But obviously, like, his family and Dante, like, really care about him and thought he was dead. So, of course, they're going to be, like, visibly upset.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's what it kind of circles back to, like his own mindset.
He has a really like big mindset of like he doesn't realize people care about him that much,
Yeah.
which makes him like kind of hurt other people.
Yeah, without
But
meaning to.
yeah, like he did. I know he did hurt Dante and his family. His family, yes, but like I think his family's more used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah. Um, yeah, just the mentality is kind of it's it's sad, but I
Yeah.
understand where it's coming from. Anyway, I'll continue on. Um, I have this quote that Ari said because he was on put on morphine because obviously like his arms and
Yeah.
like legs are in like severe pain.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what his mom said, but he said, "At long last, I get to do drugs."
Oh my God. Yeah.
But like also after that got like really depressing really fast. But also like I love how he was like constant like he was so while he was like in the bed, remember how he was like saying his dad's name a lot in his sleep?
Yeah.
So now he's saying Dante's name a lot
Yeah.
because he's like really hoping like Dante's alive, I guess. And he's like concerned about him, hoping
Yeah.
he's okay. And Dante stayed waiting there for like 36 hours, which
That's like pure dedication.
oh, I love it. Okay, I got a question here.
Yeah.
Would you do that for someone? Would you like if someone like close to you got hurt, would you stay at the hospital for that
A hundred,
long?
100%.
Yeah?
Also, I think what made him do that as well was Ari literally risked his life to save Dante.
Oh yeah, true.
So Dante, in a way, kind of thinks it's his fault that Ari got hurt.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
he
feel like
definitely
that's
thinks that.
yeah. So I feel like that's another reason why he's staying. Also, he cares about him a lot, so
Well,
that's why
yeah.
he stayed as well. But Ari basically kind of sacrificed himself to save Dante. So I
Hmm.
think that's a lot of the reason why he stayed.
Yeah.
But like 100% I would. If I'm like
Yeah.
really close to them and I care about them, I think I definitely would.
Yeah. Like I would probably I mean they have like kind of I guess places you can stay overnight
Yeah.
or you can stay in the room like on a chair. I know a lot of people do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm. But like his parents letting him stay for that long, I'm like, oh my God.
I know, I'm like I think even from like that moment, they knew there was something between them.
Yeah, like I think they all knew.
Something more that obviously is unspoken at the moment, but
Hmm.
you can like see the connection between them.
Yeah. And like when they actually like finally meet each other, the lovely like wholesome like banter and jokes they're having. So
Yeah.
adorable. I love it.
I love their little like back and forths.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cute. And I think it was yeah, Dante said to Ari, "You were just being you," but Ari being his like pessimistic kind of his pessimistic self and not thinking he was a hero or whatever was like,
Yeah.
no, actually, no, this is the wrong other way around. Sorry. Um, it was Ari saying you were just being you, and then Dante said you didn't do anything. I don't know which way it was. Yeah, that was I don't know. I love all that the conversation they had there. It was really
Yeah.
adorable. And right after this, I moved on quickly to like after like the hospital stuff. So he went into like back to his house, but he was in a
Yeah.
wheelchair, so he still had to be cared
Oh,
for.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He named his wheelchair. I love this. He named his wheelchair Fidel, I think it was, or Fiddle, and then like immediately cast it away to the basement when he was done with it. And I'm like, ouch, you named your wheelchair and then cast it away.
He was like, nah, don't need you anymore.
Yeah, I
You can
don't need you.
go.
I mean, he really didn't like being in a wheelchair, which is fair.
Yeah.
So getting it away is honestly like valid.
Yeah.
Want to
I
see
think,
that anymore?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh yeah, I will mention how I like how um Ari treats like Dante's family like really nice. like he doesn't get mad at like his family, at Dante's family, for like asking tons of questions. It's nice, even though he does gets like mad and annoyed at like Dante and his family, but at least he like leaves the parents out of it because they don't deserve it. Not saying any of the others deserve it, but like still, yeah. And then he goes home. He gets a bit babied. I would honestly, I would hate that. I would hate to be babied that much. But it's valid because like he can't really do much.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
yeah. So Dante ends up coming over a lot. And you mentioned the sketchbook earlier.
Yeah.
Dante gives Ari the sketchbook.
Which is like a big thing.
It's a big thing. But Ari does Dante said not to look at it while he's there. But then Ari put it under his bed and never looked at it.
Yeah.
Because he got kind of annoyed that he got annoyed that like Dante gave it to him. Because he kind of back to that point. Yeah. Also went to that point where he doesn't feel like people care about him that much. And they do. Yeah. Obviously.
I feel like a lot of it does circle back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't really think about when I'm reading it, because obviously you're just reading the story.
Mm-hmm.
But like revisiting it for me, because I know you kind of recently read it, but revisiting it for me, I was like, wow, a lot of this kind of makes sense, which I didn't like piece together properly before, but now it like really makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And like they do end up reading it together. They look at it together just before like Dante leaves, because Dante ends up his dad gets a job in Chicago.
Yeah.
What's his dad's job? He's a professor. He's a professor. Yeah. He gets a job in Chicago, so their whole family moves out there for the like school year.
Yeah.
So just before like Dante leaves, they look through the sketchbooks themselves.
Yeah.
Which is it's really wholesome. And then you know how like he's gone, and while like he's in Chicago, he writes Ari letters. But then Ari does like never like rarely writes back.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I understand like Dante's point of view where like it would hurt. Like he's putting in a lot of effort. But also I see Ari's point of view where he just, I don't know, doesn't know what to say, or maybe it just forgets or something. But he still appreciates the letters. It just like doesn't mention that. So that really, I don't know, kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. I'll talk, I don't want to talk about how much Ari kind of annoys me, but like I love Ari, but there's just certain points. Like, you know, Gina and Susie? Like the two girls from his high school?
Yeah, who are kind of his friends.
Yeah, they're trying so hard. And he keeps pushing them away until like the end, I believe.
Do you know what that circles back to, Megan?
Yeah, I know it does circle back to.
It doesn't, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, maybe more than you, I think I relate to him and see myself more in him than maybe you do. So like I feel like I'm maybe a bit more sympathetic, but like you're totally, because if you're looking from an outside perspective and like you can't kind of relate to his feelings or like his mindset and all of that, then obviously you're like, what the hell, stop being so negative. But like obviously for me, because I do see myself kind of like myself a few years back in him, I kind of like see it and I'm like, you know what, I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I just feel like emotionally attached to him as a character. So I feel like it just depends on like where you're coming from, kind of like who you are as a person and how you like relate to the different characters in the story.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just, it just depends, because obviously Dante and Ari are two different people.
Oh yeah, obviously.
So when you're a reader reading it, you're probably gonna kind of attach yourself or favor one over the other, because it's kind of unlikely you're gonna see yourself in both of them. You
Oh yeah.
might, but I think it's kind of like, I would say I'm not that much of Dante, but I'm like a lot of Ari, I feel like.
Well, they're like complete opposites kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Dante is really like positive and tries to look on the brighter side, while Ari's very pessimistic and negative
Yeah.
and looks more in like the like I don't know, just darker side of things.
I think it's also because, of course, they have their own struggles, because Dante's life isn't perfect by any means.
No.
But I think the difference between them is like the way they deal with it.
Hmm.
Because obviously they're both going through emotional things in
Yeah.
this book and also in the next book, which we're not talking about today, but it's still a little bit relevant.
Hmm.
But it's just the way that emotionally they respond to it. That's kind of where the differences lie,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, I'm gonna continue on because you have like 12 minutes where you have to leave.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a quote by Dante on page 173,
Mhm.
which I wrote down because it reminded me a lot of the podcast.
Yeah.
It was whatever happened to reading a book because you liked it. And it's
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, what happened to that? Like I know people read books for like classes, but it's like what happened to just reading a book for fun?
Just because you like to and you want to
Yeah,
read. Yeah.
exactly.
That's a whole thing now, because this is the reason why I didn't take English literature as at A level,
Mhm.
because I knew I would have hated it.
Mhm.
Because English literature at school, it just makes you hate books
Yeah, I
in a
guess.
way. Because it's just like, I don't know how you do it, but it's like, oh, what does the color red mean? Like, what does that symbolize? I'm like, well,
Mm.
maybe it doesn't symbolize anything. Maybe it's just red. It doesn't have to be like, oh, it's dangerous. There's something. And I'm just like,
I
I
didn't
don't know.
go through that in my thing, but like my English class in last year wasn't that hard, I guess. Like if you
Oh,
like there was like different versions. There was one that
yeah,
was like more literature based.
yeah.
There was one more like I guess like nonfiction, more like historical kind of things, like based.
Hmm.
And then there's one that was like in the middle, where you did like both, which is what I did
Ours was
because I couldn't choose.
ours was really ours was really hard, because we studied I think one book and two plays, and
Okay.
then you have to memorize quotes from it. Like, you're not given the book in your exam,
Mhm.
so the points that you have to make about the book, you have to know the quotes off the top of your head. So that
Oh.
was stressful. And then to top it off, we had a poem section as well.
Mhm.
We had to learn 15 poems,
Oh my
and
God.
we'd only have to talk about one in the exam, but we'd have to know all the quotes, all the techniques, all the context,
Yeah.
everything for 50 of those poems.
Jesus.
And you'd be given one in the exam, and then you'd have to choose one to compare it with. So you literally
Mhm.
only really needed to know one, but you had to know all 15 because you didn't know what poem you were going to get.
Yeah.
So it was stressful.
Oh my God. Okay.
It was a
Lovely.
lot to memorize. I mean, I got there. I got a good grade.
You got there.
It was really stressful.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue on. Still only have like 9 minutes.
We can
mm,
extend it to like 10.
to 10?
We can extend it to 10. Yeah.
Like 10 minutes? Okay.
Yeah. Or like, wait, what's the time? Or like 15.
I have notes about like driving and like when you like it's not really related to the book necessarily, so I'm gonna skip over it for now.
Okay.
There's a quote by Ari at one point. Really, that it's a phrase that really annoys
Mm-hmm.
me. Like I know some people say it like in modern day. It's really short. It's just because
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a boy. Like to like because like I'm a boy, I do this, and I'm like, why?
Oh,
Why does
yeah.
like just because you're a boy, why do you just, I don't know, why does that have to be a reason for what you do? I don't remember what he was talking
Yeah.
about exactly, but still, I don't really like that kind of phrase.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
No, it's like the whole thing of like, calling, this isn't really related, but calling your like girlfriend like my girl.
Oh my god, you talked about this so much.
I did, and it annoys me.
It's like objectifying, and
Yeah,
it's just I don't like it.
we truly. How do you do it?
I don't know. What a heart.
Like the funky one, like that one.
I don't know. I
But
can't.
there's
My
like,
hands don't work.
cause I do that one normally, but that's like it's like
I don't think mine looks like a heart.
we're gonna put this in the bloopers. Okay, so I have this is funny.
Carry on.
Rip Dante having a sexuality crisis.
Oh, Dante.
Dante goes to Chicago and he writes to Ari about all this. But he goes to a party and he kisses a girl. But
Wait. Sorry. Like, by tells Ari, do you mean he tells him about his sexuality crisis?
he tells him how he thinks about kissing a guy when kissing a girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my first comment underneath it was me too though. And then in big caps about three notes down is having an asexuality crisis now. Fuck.
Oh my god, was this last night? Because you didn't reply to me. Okay, we're going to talk about this.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah, you messaged me later because I woke up to that Snapchat and I was like, "Are you alright? Like, what's going on?"
I forgot what I was talking about, so that's why I didn't send any.
Oh, okay.
Good to remind me. But yeah, my comments underneath that were me too. Right. And then not right now though. Right now I'm pretty content. I don't feel straight. And then having an asexuality crisis. I went through a lot.
That's good that you feel solid in your bisexuality.
Yeah, I feel solid in that.
But
everything else I'm so confused.
That's like, do you know what? Sometimes I go through periods of it actually happening. You know, I go through periods of it like deeply happening, and then I'm like, woo, going about my life. And then it just hits me again. I'm like, oh,
is this real or is this just like, because I have friends who are asexual and I'm just like, oh, I should fit in. And then I'm like, no.
Woo, let's be quirky.
Let's be quirky. Yeah, no. Okay, we're gonna move on to Legs, his dog. We haven't mentioned Legs, and I should have mentioned Legs.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
When does he get Legs?
Near like the end of the summer, like beginning of when our Dante leaves, I guess.
Yes.
He gets a dog named Legs. I think what's the reason named Legs? I think that's because his legs are finally like he was able to walk on them.
Yes.
So name him Legs. I love that he named her Legs. And honestly, I love my pets more than most people. And I love the point of where like a dog will always be a man's best friend, but also doesn't mean it has to be like a man. It can be like just any person's best friend.
Yeah.
Because they're lovely most of the time.
I love dogs so much.
Yeah. You don't have the problem of arguing.
They really like emotionally respond to you as well.
They do, yeah.
Like if you're upset, they will like literally try and come over and comfort you. And I think that's like so like really intelligent, like emotional intelligence. Just it's just lovely.
It's lovely. And he kind of brings us back to Heartstopper.
Nelly,
yeah. And I'm so sad that Nelly won't be in season 2 and 3. Like season 2.
She's hardly in it though, because they're in Paris, so it wouldn't make sense anyway.
I know, but season 3 though.
Maybe, but she's
still not there much.
After the first volume, you just don't see her. Well, you'll see Henry probably.
Henry, yeah.
Little pug, right?
He's a pug. And maybe Nelly will come back for like an episode, like one thing.
Yeah, it's like the thing of them cutting what's his name? Oliver.
Oh yeah.
Because Ollie
was a kid.
because they'll need a child actor.
Yeah.
And then because you're a child actor, you can't work the full hours. So it's just like,
It's more
mess.
difficult, yeah.
Which I think might have been the case in the first season anyway, because some of them were 17 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
But like now they're all fully adults.
Oh my god, yeah, now they're like who was it? Wasn't Cormac the youngest?
Yeah, I think he's in the last year of sixth form now, so he might be
Okay.
17.
Yeah, I think it's Cormac and then Kit.
Yeah, and then Joe.
Yeah, Kit, Joe, and then the others.
The rest of them. Yeah. Can we stop talking about Hot Stop now?
Yeah, of course. I want to mention a quote where it's by Ari. I wish that Dante and I lived in the universe of boys instead of almost men.
Sorry.
And I'm like, that's really gay. But anyway.
Literally, as you get further into the book, you're just like, Ari just gets gayer and gayer and gayer
Like,
until he finally realizes.
Internalized homophobia.
Even his mom and dad, they know.
They know.
They literally know.
But he's in denial for the longest time.
Do you know what I think? I don't know what I anticipated when I first read the book, but I think nice isn't the right word, but like it's kind of nice to see a book with obviously Dante is kind of coming to terms with it, and you see him being confident-ish within his sexuality, and then you have Ari who is completely in denial. And I don't think you see it in a way, because this isn't like damaging. Like a lot of the time you see it where it's like really the way that it's portrayed and done, it just really toxic and kind of triggering. But the way this is done, like it's just so beautifully sad. I don't know, that's the only way I can describe
I get what you mean.
But it's done in the right way, I think. It's kind of nice to see that they kind of both kind of eventually get on the same kind of wavelength in terms of like their sexuality and that sort of thing.
Yeah, like a lot of books with like queer characters, like aside from like Nick and Heartstopper, because he figures it out on the way. A lot of them already kind of know that they're queer, but are like more like they're hiding it, like in Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Oh yeah.
Like Henry is his name?
Yes.
Yeah, Henry. He like is in the closet from his family and from everyone.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting to see someone actually going on that journey.
Yeah,
from like not realizing to then meeting Dante and then kind of going on that discovery / denial thing.
Yeah. It's good to see.
By the time you get to the end, you're like, oh my god, like the development is like really great.
Yeah. Also, Chloe, it's 10:30 for me. It's I
know. 5 more minutes. Go.
4 minutes? Okay. Yeah, where was I? We were talking about
letters. Legs,
and then talking more about like the letters. Because Ari mentions legs in the letters, and then Dante mentions that no, wrong. Sorry. I put down about the party that Gina and Susie invited Ari to.
Yeah.
But it's just the peer pressure they're putting on him. I mean, it's not really peer pressure, I guess, but like a little bit of like, oh, we should go to the party. You should be cool and go to the party with us. It's like, okay.
I don't really want to, but sure.
Okay, you don't need to keep pushing it. You can leave it alone. Okay, but I'm glad he kind of loosened up.
Yeah.
Gotten like actually better friends with Gina and Susie. Continuing on. Gina, I think this is still talking with Gina. And they're talking about like being 17 and how Gina likes going to parties because she's 17.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess maybe like the mentality back then. I don't know. But
yeah, because it's set in the 80s, I think.
Yeah. I'm like, just because you're 17 doesn't mean you like going to parties.
I never went to any parties during secondary school.
Oh, me neither.
Unless it was like a birthday party for someone. Maybe, but not like a party, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I still don't go to that many parties anyway.
I don't really go to parties too often. Not like party parties, like,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I hang out with people, but that doesn't count.
No, yeah.
Moving on, Dante is back.
Yes, because
And
it's summer now, so it's been a year.
Yes.
So like you said, it's been a year, so Dante is back from Chicago. And not Dante, Ari is going like on a walk, on a run, and Legs is with him, and they go past Dante's house and they see that Dante's back. Ari goes in to like say hi to his parents, because obviously it's been a year, so it's been a while since they've all seen each other. And now Dante, not Dante, oh my God, sorry. I'm just gonna, okay. Ari. Now Ari has a job working about like 40 something hours a week, like flipping burgers and stuff. And he also has like this really cool truck, which Dante really wants to ride in and wants to learn how to drive in as well. And Dante, because, you talked about in the letters how Dante kind of hints at him being gay, which is like a very tricky thing, especially during that time period, and because they have a really close friendship. So Dante asks him if there's any rules for them, and Ari's just, the only thing he says is that he doesn't kiss boys, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then Dante says that Ari isn't allowed to run away. So those are the two rules essentially that they kind of make going forward in their friendship. So they drive out to the desert in Ari's truck, and Dante tells him that his mum is pregnant, which is really cool. So he's going to be a big brother, which he's always wanted, because he didn't really like being an only child. So he's really excited about that. But then there's a deeper thing with his mum being pregnant for Dante, where he's like, because he's gay and he doesn't feel, kind of for the whole book, you see Dante not feeling like he's a real Mexican.
Yeah, I know.
Because he has lighter skin, so he could be white passing. You know what I mean? So he feels like he doesn't fit. And then also the added thing of him now kind of being gay, he just feels like he's not proper Mexican at all. So his thought is, if his mum has another child, then that can be like the perfect Mexican child sort of thing, which is really sad.
Really sad when he has to think that way.
Hate that he thinks that way. But I think that's also important for the representation in the book, because I think there are a lot of people out there who are of Mexican descent and are Hispanic and stuff who like think like that. So I think it's kind of good to like go in that journey with him towards like the end of the book.
Yeah.
And then Dante says that he wants to tell his parents that he's gay, but he's like really worried, again, like I said, that he's not living up to like being a proper Mexican or being like a proper son. So he's like really worried about that. And I think it's good that he feels comfortable with confiding in Ari, because if he didn't have him, then I think he would be like, I think emotionally he'd be like a lot worse.
Doesn't he have a therapist though?
Does he?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, at least
When?
he did start getting one before.
Oh, I don't remember that.
When the accident first happened.
Oh, maybe, I don't think so anymore, because he's been in Chicago.
Yeah.
Maybe just like to deal with his parents probably made him, because it was like crazy traumatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe not anymore, because now I think they're like, yeah, they're 17, aren't they now? Yeah, like when you first see them in the book, they're 15, so it kind of like goes through a lot of periods in their life.
Yeah.
So like 2 years have already passed. And then you have Dante and Ari go to Dante's house, and they're in his room, and Dante's working on a painting, and there's a bit of like silence. He's working on the painting. Ari's probably reading or doing something in his room, and then out of kind of nowhere, Dante asks Ari, how do you know that you don't like kissing boys if you never have? Which is like, whoa, you're bringing up this thing that you kind of agreed not to kind of about. And then Ari's just like, I think you just know. And Dante is kind of, he's like, oh, I want to try something, I want to do an experiment. And Ari's like, oh no, like he doesn't want to do it. And then eventually, because it's Dante, of course, he eventually gives in. And Dante actually kisses him, which is like, whoa, like I didn't expect that to happen when I first read it. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I want to voice my opinion here on this. I
Yeah.
love that they kissed first time, but also in the way that they did it, it was not great. Because there's a lot of pressure from Dante to do it.
Yeah. I think it is interesting from here to like what happens at the end of the book. That development in Ari and his like emotions with that. Because after Dante kisses him, Ari's like, oh yeah, no, I didn't feel anything. And then after that, Ari didn't call Dante for a few days because he didn't know what to say. Because that's a bit of an awkward thing of your friend is openly gay and he kind of pressures you, I guess, to like kiss. And then obviously you didn't enjoy it. And then it's just really uncomfortable to kind of, are you going to address it or are you just going to ignore it and keep going like you were before? I think that's like a really awkward kind of situation to be in. So then a few days later, I think they both go running together actually, and I don't think they really talk about it. So they just like keep going like it was before. And then Dante tells him that he got a job at the local drugstore because his dad wanted him to get a job. He was like, oh, look at Ari has a job and all of this. And so Dante finally got a job. And then Aristotle asks Dante one night if he wants to just get drunk and go like to the desert and get drunk, because like at this point he's not in a good emotional state. Like he hasn't really been for most of the book, but like the thing with his brother just keeps weighing on him, and then obviously that internalized homophobia is kind of becoming more prominent. I feel like towards the end of the book you can like really see its toll on him. So like Dante just agrees. So Ari goes back to his house to just like get ready and then go pick up Dante. And then you see a little thing between Ari and his dad where his dad just kind of observes and is like, you seem really angry. And you can just kind of see it's a little out of character. It's just that like the really like intense emotions you can like clearly see happening to him. And I just wrote in my book and I highlighted emo Ari.
I just wrote a lot.
Yeah, which is basically a lot of the book, but particularly like in this part of the book, you can really see, you can just really see it, and how him like not talking about his emotions really like affects him. Because I feel like he 100% in the book would have been better off if he had someone to just like talk about everything to, because he does talk to Dante, but not about everything that's going on with him. So I feel like if he could, but obviously just because of who he is as a person, he doesn't feel able to. But yeah, so then he goes to Dante's house, and when he goes to Dante's house, like he's visibly crying. Fuck you, sorry, not you.
Oh my god.
Honestly.
Just continue, or you want to stop?
Yeah, no, I can continue till it's like 2 minutes. So he goes to Dante's house and he's visibly like crying. You can see that he's been crying and that he's still kind of crying. And Dante's dad sees it as well and is a little bit concerned. And then they just like, he picks up Dante, they just drive to the desert. And then by the time they get there, Ari realizes that he forgot the beer. And he starts like making like, oh my god, I forgot the beer, why did I forget the beer? And Dante's like, it's fine, don't worry about it. And then Ari just he keeps yelling to that point of it just turns into like uncontrollable sobbing. And at this point, it's just like, I feel so bad for him, because it's like all this pent up like anger and sadness and frustration. And it's just like all coming out. It's like, you know, when there's like these little things that keep happening and keep happening, and then eventually you will just like completely blow up. And it's not because of that thing that just happened, but it's because of like everything together. Like if you've been like bottling your emotions, it's just like that one little trigger that can just set you off. And it could be something like so small, just like he forgot the beer, which is not a big deal, but it's a really big deal
It's
to
still
him.
something, yeah.
Yeah. And then I wrote, like, he falls into Dante's arms, like Dante's literally holding him and he's just like crying so much.
Mhm.
And then I have this little quote, and I think it could be Ari, but I cannot remember. And it says, "Sometimes pain was like a storm that came out of nowhere."
Ooh.
And it's so sad, but it's so true. It's like this thing of, how do I describe it? Sorry, you just froze for a minute. Okay, never mind. Sometimes. Yeah, anyway, okay, I'll move on. And then I think this is kind of like the next day. Ari goes to Dante's workplace, and Gina and Megan.
Yes, what?
You literally just like spazzed on the screen.
Weird.
Okay, I'll continue. So Gina and Susie go to visit Dante as well at his workplace, so they're kind of like all there together. And Ari finds out that Dante told both of them about the incident that happened, where Ari goes and saves Dante from the car that swerved around the corner. And he gets like really mad that he told them about it.
I know.
Like really mad and annoyed. And he just like walks out. And then later on that day, kind of just as Ari's finishing his shift at work, Gina and Susie then show up, which I just love that they keep showing up, even though he's like, no, because I think they know that he is pushing them away and that he really needs them. So I kind of like that they do keep showing up and do keep trying. And then we have kind of the next day, Ari and Dante are arguing a bit more. And then this is kind of deep. Dante asks Ari if he wishes that he was dead and that he didn't save him, which is like, so I can't even like think. That's probably been going through his head since the accident happened.
Oh, probably.
Like, I don't know. And then of course Ari doesn't think that, like, he saved him for a reason because that's his best friend and he cares for him like a lot. And then we find out that Ari and Dante's dads are going bowling, which I love.
I know.
They're so cute.
And then
They're
didn't
all dynamic. I love it.
their moms go out together?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I just love their families, like interacting. It's just really sweet. And then so whilst they've gone out bowling, Ari and Dante are hanging out together, and Dante is making a list of some baby names for his mum's baby. And then this quote really stuck out to me when he was like listing off the baby names, and Ari was like to him, "Oh, they sound like traditionally Mexican like names." And Dante said to him, if he has a Mexican name, then maybe he'll feel more Mexican, which obviously comes back to that point I was saying before, where he feels like he's not that traditional Mexican proper son that his parents can be proud of, which obviously is not the case. Like, his parents love him so much and are so proud of him, but he just feels that baby's that opportunity to kind of, he feels like he's the disappointment in the family sort of.
And he's really not.
He's not. He's like such an amazing person. Like, anyone would be glad to have him as a son, I think. And then they go out to the desert again. The desert is just like their place, I feel like now. And then Dante whips out 2 joints. Don't smoke, kids.
What a bad boy. I'm kidding.
That's so funny. Which he says he got from Daniel, who's a guy that he works with. And he's a guy who Dante wants to kiss as well. Because I think Ari's like, oh, do you want to like kiss him? And he's like, yeah. So then they just like smoked for a little bit. And again, do not smoke, kids. It's not good. I mean, as long as it's legal, like, do what you want, you know?
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, don't kill yourself, you know, with drugs. And then it like rained really heavily, so I think they got back into the truck and just like drove around a little bit. And then another little sad quote I got from Dante is, do real Mexicans like to kiss boys? And that made me really sad. Because it's just, I feel like for this last kind of bit of the book, you really get that emphasis and that kind of realization of Dante just not feeling like he fits in, and that like he like I said, he just feels like a disappointment because he's gay, and because he thinks being gay and being Mexican don't like fit or merge, but they do. Yeah, and then we learn that, what's the time? But yeah, and then that kind of goes into the last part of the book, which is all you. Mm-hmm. Go on.
Wait, what?
You're the last part of the book.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I zoned out.
You just looked at me like this. Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear what you said. I zoned out. So I was so confused.
I was just like waiting. Any time now. I don't think there's that much left of the book now.
Yeah, no, I just had to find where it was. Okay, this is where it starts to get bad. Well, it's like beginning of this part is kind of bad.
Oh, yeah.
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 So it starts off where I don't know where he's coming from, but it was like raining. Oh, they're coming back from the thing with his aunt.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're coming back to El Paso, and it's raining and pouring. And I think it's kind of sad because his mom asked like, "Oh, does this remind you of the accident?" Even though they agreed to like, not talk about that. Kind of, yeah. So that's sad. And he thinks about Dante, and he thinks about legs. How legs, doesn't like thunder.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's yeah. I have a note saying he has a whole gay crisis.
Oh my
Because he's
god.
thinking about like Dante and like how Dante likes kissing boys and wants to marry a boy and that kind of thing. And then he's thinking about like how Dante likes kissing, and then thinks about like like masturbating and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
And then Ari's
yeah.
like, he thinks it's maybe a bit weird, and I'm like, that's your asexual. He's not asexual, but it gave up those vibes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get what you mean.
But then he ends up running to Dante's house.
What?
Sorry, I'm
What?
like a mess. My notes are very
No,
scribbly.
it's okay, don't worry.
He has a crisis and then decides to run over to Dante's house to get legs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this is when, you're introduced to what happened. Goes to his house, sees legs, and is like, oh, what a happy moment. And then I think was it Sam or was it his mom? I don't remember which one. I think it was his dad. Yeah, it was his dad who came out.
Yes, yeah.
And was like very like kind of sad. And Arya's like very confused, like, oh, what's up? It's like, oh, you should come inside. We can talk about, whatever. Yeah. So Dante essentially he got beat up while Ari was gone for the thing with his aunt. Yeah, got beat up because he was kissing a boy in an alley.
If I'm correct, I think that is the Daniel guy I was speaking about before, and that he literally just left Dante there.
Yeah, he just ran away.
Yeah.
Which is an asshole move. Like, I get, like, you don't want to get beat up yourself, but, like...
I think he was really scared, insecure about his sexuality. Obviously, it doesn't excuse it, because that's a horrible thing to do, like, as a human being, to just leave someone there to get... But I understand a little bit of the mentality behind it, but still, I don't think I would do that to someone.
I mean, you're already caught kissing a guy.
It's like you don't have anything left to lose, really, at that point.
No. And be a decent person and help him up, at least.
Like, he could have ended up dying.
He could have, but he didn't.
You know what I mean?
Because someone intervened, right? I assume.
Pardon?
Or did someone intervene? I don't remember anyone saying that.
I can't remember, actually.
Yeah.
But he's in the hospital, isn't he?
He's in the hospital.
Yeah.
while he's in the hospital, Ari and Dante's parents. I'm not sure that both of them or just Ari and Sam were talking, but they're talking and I'll just call him Sam, like Dante's dad. Was like, you knew, didn't you? You knew that he was like queer. He likes kissing boys. And then he didn't get upset, he got kind of sad, like, why didn't he tell me? Which, I mean, it's valid in both ways. Because we talked about this before of why Dante didn't tell. Because he felt like kind of like a disappointment.
It's also a thing of it's his story to tell. So like if it takes him like 5 years, then it takes him 5 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously because that's his son, he's like, oh, why didn't you tell me? Like it's about him. Like I know where he's coming from. It's not like a thing of, oh, why didn't he tell me? I feel so betrayed. It's just
No,
like
it's
him
just like
being, really concerned.
Mhm.
Because obviously Dante was dealing with that for a long time.
Mhm.
Because I think he'd known he was gay for a very long time. So he'd been
Yeah.
dealing with that kind of by himself for a very long time.
But I don't think his parents would have cared about having grandkids, really. Because that's like the major thing that Dante was worried about.
Yeah, they just care about his son being okay.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of parents they are, I
Which
think.
I love.
Yes, I love them so much.
And they love Dante so much.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, um, not Dante. Ari goes and visits Dante after this conversation. Well, he
Yeah.
goes home first, and then talks to his parents briefly, and then goes to the hospital to see Dante. And they don't say much. They just sit there and see each other. That's really it. I don't think Dante doesn't talk much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both quiet. I find it funny there's a quote that Ari says while he's talking to Dante's parents in the hospital room.
Yeah.
He was saying, the worst thing about adults is that they're not always adults. And I'm like, yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
We're adults, I guess, technically now.
I've had experiences of that with other adults.
Mm.
I'm not going to go into it now, but you know what
afterwards.
Just coming to university has made me realize people who
yeah.
are adults and who are like older than me by quite a bit behave like children.
Yeah, I know. I can cut this out, don't worry.
No, you can keep it in because it's not targeting anyone. It's just a general thing.
True.
It's not even about the thing that's happening now because I learned this last year as well. Like just people skills.
People
sometimes
don't grow up sometimes. They just don't learn things.
Yeah. Just like even like a 30-year-old, like solid kind of adult.
Yeah.
Sometimes just still not it.
Which is really sad, but whatever. Yeah, just Ari, he loves Dante so much. But their like ways of expressing it is different. Because when Ari was in the hospital, Dante was like very sad and very like depressed and kept saying sorry, sorry, sorry. And then now that Dante's in the hospital.
I would say
Ari's just mad and upset.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He has a lot of like pent-up anger inside him.
Yeah.
Which I also think is a reason why his parents didn't tell him much about his brother because his brother was really aggressive and Dante has that kind of anger in him. I don't think he'd be able to hurt someone, but I think that was kind of their worry about
he'll be able to hurt someone.
Huh?
You do know what happens next, right?
Yeah, but like, I mean, okay. Wait, okay. But I mean, he did it. It was a good reason, okay?
It was, well, yeah, but still violence isn't the answer.
I know. I think definitely with maybe Ari more than Dante, his choices are led by emotion a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Dante, I feel like, because he is emotional, I feel like it might be a little bit of a mix between, because he's a pretty logical person, I feel like.
He is pretty logical, yeah.
A mix of logic and emotion, but he is highly emotional as well. But with Ari, it's just a thing of he doesn't think about it, he just acts, and then he realizes the impact of it after he's done
Yeah,
the
it's not
thing.
really a great idea what he did.
No.
For example, what happens next? So he loves Dante so much. He's upset that people beat him up, that he goes out and he finds who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he goes first because who is he talking to? Oh, he's talking to his parents about, like, Dante's parents about it. And he's saying how an old lady saw, and I think he kind of connected dots to who it would have been. I think he connected dots to Daniel. So he went to
Yes.
Daniel
Yeah.
and, like, badgered Daniel about it, who it was. And then apparently already knew people that beat him up, kind of.
I think they used to be like distant friends when they were younger.
Yeah.
Or like he was friends with the older brother or of the people who did something like that. He
Yeah.
like knew them.
Well, it's kind of like a tight community, I'm pretty sure. Everyone kind of knows each other.
Yeah.
But anyway, he goes and finds them. This guy's name is, he goes find, I think he finds one of them. His name's Julian.
Yes, yes.
And he literally just, he beats him up.
Don't laugh.
I'm not gonna laugh, but like he takes him over to his car and like beats the shit out of him for like beating up Dante. And it's, yeah.
Like violence.
He kind of deserves it.
It's like I know. It's like that saying, I don't know if you know it, but it's like two rights don't make a wrong.
Mhm.
So it's like if someone does something bad, you don't have to do something bad back at them.
No.
But obviously he feels like he has to. Like it's just that his emotions are just like clouding his judgment, and he just feels like he has to. I feel like maybe he was just gonna talk to him about it, but as soon as he saw him and like he knew what he did to Dante, I feel like he just couldn't like be civil.
Yeah.
Because the thought of someone hurting Dante to him is just like
Too much.
completely awful.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. Beats him up
Violence
and then
is not the answer, okay?
I think he breaks his nose. Which is like, it's bad, but it's like
I mean who
worse.
needs those anyway? You know what I mean?
And he always fixes a nose. Like it probably wasn't that bad. Probably wasn't that bad, honestly.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
But still.
It's not going to beat you up, but like it could have been way worse.
No, you're right.
Yeah. And then since I didn't mention this, but the person who I think Julian was leaving work, right? I believe so.
Yes, I think
and then
so.
his boss is an old friend of Ari's dad.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so the boss saw and told Ari's dad. Ari's dad got upset, obviously. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because well, like Bernardo, who's Ari's, it's kind of mentioned a little later in this little conversation. But Ari's brother Bernardo, did they actually? Yeah, Bernardo. Anyway,
Yeah.
is in prison because I think he killed people, right?
He killed a guy.
He killed a guy. Yeah, he had a lot of aggression and anger. He'd beat people up, and so I'm pretty sure his parents are scared he's turning into that.
Yeah. Because it's like that same kind of aggression, but it's coming from a different place.
Yeah.
It's kind of coming from a place of love, to be honest.
But still not a good way to like, express it.
Yeah. But then I think the inability to express it again comes back to the thing with his brother and his parents not telling him anything. And it's not their fault, they're just trying to protect him. But it comes down to that thing of like obviously because his dad doesn't really express his feelings either. So he's kind of
goes
learned
down, yeah.
to not, yeah. It just kind of comes back to like kind of like all the stuff with his brother and the stuff that the family are kind of like hiding from him.
Well, yeah. Well, things like passed down, like habits passed down through people.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I don't think a lot like his mom is pretty good.
I think she's pretty open.
Yeah. So like part of it like has I don't know. I think the like repressed emotion stuff is mostly from his dad.
And then
then,
it could
like,
also just be Ari as well, just like
yeah,
who he is anyway.
yeah,
But yeah.
whatever. And there's a little quote or thing that Ari said in his mind. There's kind of like a thing. What's the word? He kind of got the sense from his parents of
Mhm.
like they're thinking like, oh, first your brother and now you.
Mm.
Like, yeah, okay. But he ends up getting like really upset that he's not like his brother. He doesn't beat people up just because like, he had a specific reason for it, and he's not sorry for it either. So, but like and it's not like yeah, it's valid, whatever.
Is this like the point where he actually comes to that realization
That he's
with,
queer.
yeah,
I
is
think
that
so. Yeah,
yeah,
pretty sure.
that was
Okay,
like so sad to read.
it
Like
was,
I
but
I don't know.
this book is a sad book. Honestly, it has good times and bad times.
I have, yeah, I
Like a
love,
roller coaster.
pardon.
It's like a roller
Yeah,
coaster.
yeah, no, definitely.
You're gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. So he goes into the shower to like
Oh
avoid
yeah.
his parents and whatever. And when he comes out, father's gone. His mom comes out with a letter, like an envelope with all the information of his brother
Oh my God,
that
yeah.
Ari found earlier, but didn't want to touch it because like that's the wrong way. He didn't want to find out that way.
Yeah.
He wanted to have like a proper conversation. And like kind of funny, him and his mom have like a little banter back and forth. It's like I was like had to have like a glass of wine, and he's like, I drink beer sometimes, and kind of a little talk about that. And he was saying like, I told you I'd like rebel or rebel against you someday, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
I love their little banter they
I
have,
know
him and
they're
his
really
mum.
cute. I wish he talked to his like dad more like that, but he doesn't. Hmm. Okay, just looking through my notes. Does okay, okay, yeah, cool. I'm just getting it.
Are you almost at the end?
I should, yeah, we're not that far from the end.
Okay.
It's like,
Just a
yeah,
bit of
the
game.
talk
Huh?
about, they have the talk. I mean, him and his mom has talk about his brother. His mom tells him everything
Yeah.
about what happened, about how his brother, like, basically, he was very violent. He went out at nights, and I think he, like, beat up people. And then he
Yes.
ended up killing someone once. I don't remember the exact reason for it, but he ended up killing someone.
I don't know if there was a reason,
I
to
don't
be
think there was
honest.
a reason.
I don't think there was
I
one.
think he was
He
just
just,
angry and he went too far,
yeah.
which, yeah. Um,
We don't support killing. Don't kill.
not for any type of violence at all. Okay. I'm sorry. I know I'm not being good.
Joking.
You got a message. Crazy.
I know. Oh my God. Sorry. If you just skip to the part with Ari and Dante at the end,
I will just skip to the part that I already done at the
I
end.
don't think there's anything else too important.
Not really.
Just that part at the sorry. I have so
We're
many
skip to the
emotions.
part at the end.
Yeah. When I read this part at the end the first time, I literally sobbed.
Really?
Okay, not sobbed actually. I cried a little bit because it was like the anticipation, like everything was leading up to that moment.
Honestly,
Do you know
it
what I
wasn't
mean?
that big to me.
I was so sad because like Ari finally like admitted it, and it was so sad. And it's like he finally
We should
accepted
explain what
himself.
happens before
Sorry.
we should explain
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Go.
skip to like the really good ending part because it's so wholesome, it's so great. It's sad but great. What happened? They go through on the truck and they go out to the desert again, I'm pretty sure. Like
Yeah, I
their
think
typical
so.
spot they go to.
Yeah.
I think they have some they have beer on them, I'm pretty sure. And like drinks and stuff. They chill, relax, and then I think they're talking about kissing again. And Dante wanted to kiss Ari. And he said, okay. Something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Was it Dante?
I'm pretty sure. Was it Dante or was it Ari?
I don't know.
I'll make sure.
Because I feel like Ari would have to be the one to initiate. I don't know.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Okay, it was Ari.
Yeah, because Dante wouldn't bring that up again because he already got hurt by Ari before. So I don't think
this
it
is
would
when like Ari finally figured out or gained realization that he likes boys.
He's a little fruity.
Sorry. He's a little fruity. Yeah, and he asks Dante to kiss him, but Dante's like, no.
Yeah, because he already asked Ari and they had that whole thing, and then
yeah,
Dante got really hurt because like he's kind of known that he loves Ari, and he kind of like put his heart on the line, I guess, sort of thing, and then Ari kind of like really broke it, and he had to recover from that,
and now he's trying to mend it.
Yeah, he's kind of like in a more stable place than he was before, so he doesn't want to like jeopardize that and then just like get broken over again.
Exactly.
Which is totally fair.
And then since Dante says no, Ari kisses him instead like the other way around, and it's really wholesome and cute, and they actually they're actually a thing. Well, kind of. I don't know.
I did not hear anything you just said because you froze.
Oh, lovely. Anyway. Am I
That's
frozen
the end,
still?
right?
It is the end. Yeah, they kiss, and then it's like, whoa.
Whoa, fireworks.
Fireworks. They kiss.
Okay, so summarize how you feel about the book.
I feel good. The book was like I have to say it's not one of my favorite books. I'm sorry.
That's no, it's fair. Everyone has a different taste.
Yeah. But it's like
I know it's not everyone's like cup of tea or whatever, but I just think regardless, I think the author is such a beautiful writer.
He is,
like, some of those quotes are like so poetic in a way, and I don't know, I can't describe it, but I just love his writing so much. But yeah, it's a very emotional book, so don't read it.
Yeah, so I put it's very emotional.
So don't read it right now unless you're kind of emotionally stable. I mean, you can read it if you're emotional, but you just might like
cry a bit.
Yeah.
And it goes over some like very like good topics, kind of like very hard topics sometimes. You would be prepared for that.
Yes, yeah.
But it goes over like I don't usually books go over them in like a good way. But it's also dealing with a straight on like this is what happened. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good book. I really like it. I suggest it.
Yeah.
Even though it's not my favorite, but I still suggest it.
I think I think The Perks of Being a Wallflower is still number 1, but I'd say this is like my second favorite book of all time. Just because, like I said, because the way it was written, I just think it's like really beautiful. But like really sad and just like realistic. Even though it's set in the 80s, it still feels like super relevant. Like you can just still apply this now, which is kind of a bit sad in the way that people's attitudes are, that it kind of is still relevant. But
It's sad, but whatever.
yeah.
It's getting better.
Yeah, no, I
Slowly.
do think it is. And also something exciting is that it's been made into a film. And
It has, and but it's at the Toronto Film Festival, or I went to it, and there
yeah, I
seemed
think
good
they're
enough to
trying
go
to
out.
get a distributor,
Distributor.
someone to like, yeah, distribute the film. And I think from what I've like seen on socials that it's looking very likely that it will be released at some point.
Okay.
I'll tell you what though, when they
Mhm.
showed, it was like a really short clip that they showed from the film.
Mhm.
It was like where Ari and Dante first meet in the pool.
Yeah.
And I literally cried after I watched it because
Wait,
I was
really?
like, that's them. Like they're on the screen. These are like the characters I've read about, and I was just like, it's the same thing like Heartstopper. When I saw it,
Yeah.
I cried because it was like these characters I've read about for like ages.
Yeah, it's like me with Heartstopper. Oh my god, I love
They're
Heartstopper.
like real people now. Like I can actually see them instead of just like thinking about them. Do you know what I mean?
I'm so excited for season 2. But anyway, this episode is not about Heartstopper.
No, come
I could go on
on.
and on about Heartstopper, but we're
I
not going
know.
to talk
I've
about
seen
that today.
some pictures from set, and it looks
I
great.
have been, but like I don't promote like, taking stalker photos.
No.
That's really creepy, and you're kind of ruining the surprise. But also, it's kind of interesting. I love Imogen's outfit.
Oh my god, it looks so cool. She's
It
gonna be
does.
such a bad bitch in season 2.
She is gonna be such a bad bitch.
I want her to be gay. Sorry.
That would be great though. Also, her outfit, not be mean. The colors give off a bit of like an Umbridge vibe.
I saw someone say that.
But like not in a bad way. Like it looks good.
Okay. Anyway,
Anyway,
so our first little ending section is our favorite quote from the book.
yes.
I have 2. I've narrowed it down to 2. I
I
had
have
like
one.
5. What's your one?
The summer sun was not meant for boys like me. Boys like me belong to the rain.
I love that quote.
I know, it's so cute.
Fuck you. Sorry.
No, we can finish it fast.
No, I know. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have 2. The first one is, how could I have ever been ashamed of loving Dante Quintana? I know I said that last name wrong.
Oh,
I can't pronounce stuff.
I love that. So cute.
It's the fact that he wasn't ashamed of loving him.
Mhm.
He was just ashamed that he loved boys. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. And I know it's my second one is swimming and you, Ari. Those are the things I love the most.
Oh,
Do you see what I mean?
oh. So wholesome. You picked the wholesome quotes.
I know, the ones that make you like want to cry.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from
Do you
that
want
emotion.
to do Hogwarts houses or no?
So I just kind of did Ari and Dante.
Yeah, that's what I
really
did.
characters. So for Ari, I put a mixture of Gryffindor and I feel like he is Hufflepuff in a way.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but
I would
Gryffindor.
yeah, I think I put Slytherin for Ari,
Really?
but he could also be Gryffindor. He's like one of the two for me. Dante, I
Oh,
put in Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw.
so did I. I put
Hufflepuff.
Ravenclaw
Yeah,
for him.
yeah, one of the two. Although I didn't get anyone else though, because you don't really learn too much
Yeah,
about
I
anyone
did.
else. I would put his dad probably in Ravenclaw because there's like
Yeah.
Dante's dad, Sam.
Because the thing is, I think Ari is wholesome, but he's just like so like
Mhm.
emotionally not okay that
Yeah.
do you know what? Yeah, I don't know. So our next little section is book history.
Yes.
I can go first or you can go first. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
go first because this goes
Yeah,
off
cool.
of like the Harry Potter books.
Oh
I don't know
no.
if this is true or not actually, but it sounds like saying that Harry Potter books are the most banned in the USA.
Really?
I don't know if
Oh,
that's true, but
do
I
you,
saw.
do you know what it could be? Do you know why sometimes they're banned? It's because witchery and sorcery and religion. That's why. I'm not even
So stupid.
kidding.
It reminds me, there's a law, like a really stupid law in Canada that apparently you can't. I don't think anyone knows about it, honestly. You can't pretend to be like a wizard in public.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty
What
sure
if you
that's
wanna-
like an actual law.
What if you want to be a wizard for Halloween though?
I think for Halloween is different. I think just like regularly you're not supposed to.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, but you can be one, obviously.
I am one.
You can't pretend to be one though.
Yeah, but if you are one, then that's another thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Um
Anyway,
so
yeah.
I wanted to link my one to like the book, like its origins, whatever. So Mexico is known for its great literature. So before it was colonized, Mexico relied on storytelling to keep their history and traditions alive. So like whether that was like in written form or just like passing story through word and stuff. Yeah.
Cool. And onto our we did things about like I forgot there's a thing about the author and then there's a thing.
Theater.
We're doing theater next.
Theater.
Like, okay. My theater fact. I think I did a bit on the Phantom of the Opera last time. But now it's like officially is closing. Like Phantom of the Opera is closing officially.
I have so many things to say about Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'm not even joking.
Please say it.
Such a fucking arsehole, sorry.
Oh.
So you know how Carrie Hope Fletcher was in Cinderella in the West End, which is new Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. It was pretty good, but the plot was like really bad in places. Because if Carrie wasn't in it, a lot of people wouldn't have gone to see it, to be fair.
Oh, really? Okay.
But basically what happened was there was going to be a cast change. I can't remember when. So like a bunch of new people were like basically everyone in the original cast were basically going to leave and there was going to be like a new cast. Most of them are going to be making their West End debuts, which is like a big thing. And so they were told on social media that the show was closing. They weren't told by anyone. And Carrie didn't know. She was the last person to find out that it was closing.
Well, that's stupid.
They found out like on Twitter or something. And then Andrew described the show as a costly mistake.
Okay.
And then he was like, oh yeah, so now we're transferring it to Broadway. And I was like, firstly, because the show is British, it has tons of British humor in it. That is going to translate so bad. And they're going to change it into like really bad stuff. That's not going to like work. But now they've done all this promo for the new girl playing Cinderella on Broadway. And she seems like so talented, but her voice is more Disney princess. And the Cinderella musical isn't, you know, like that Disney pretty or that stuff. Like she needs to have like a powerful voice and she just feels really, you know, like sweet and it just doesn't fit. I don't know. I don't think it's going to do well. It'll be a few months and then it'll be gone, I'm telling you. Like it's just not going to do well.
We'll see. I believe you probably won't do well.
They've changed some of the lyrics in the title song Bad Cinderella. And it sounds so bad. Because they've Americanized it. Because like obviously we have like, I don't know, like bastard, knobhead, whatever, they're all like British terms. And then if you change it, it's like jackass. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It just sounds really bad. I don't like it.
But jackass is like an idiot or like something bad.
Oh no, I know what it is, but it just sounds stupid. I'm sorry. It does.
Okay.
Anyway, what were you saying? Sorry.
What is my book history?
Your book history?
Wasn't that word? No, book history. History. Yeah, I was reading the Phantom of the Opera is closing. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I said.
That's really sad. It's still on the West End, which I'm happy about because I still want to go see it.
I thought it was really good, but like.
Do you know what I've realised? With the West End, most of the musicals we have now are either American or have been brought over by America. We only have like three British musicals, which is like Matilda, Les Mis, and Phantom. I think are the only three now that we have. And that's just like really sad that there aren't, like, I really want to see more like original, like proper British musicals. I think it would be really cool. But I'm not complaining because obviously some of the American musicals I really love, but
there's a lot of really good American musicals.
It's just kind of really sad to see that it's just the originality just isn't really there anymore.
Okay, but there's like no Canadian musicals. There's like Come From Away.
Oh, no, isn't there only one?
Yeah, pretty sure there's only Come From Away.
Yeah. Go on, make a Canadian musical.
Me, myself.
What are you gonna call it? Maple syrup. I'm joking.
That's
joking.
rude.
I'm
I
joking.
don't know what I'd make it of. We're not that interesting. Actually,
Yeah,
no,
but
we do musicals. We have some. We have one called the hockey sweater. That's not that big.
oh. But then even if you make it, it doesn't have to be like Canadian. It just like the main character is Canadian. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like, you know, like Come From Away is set in like
Yeah.
Canadian like history sort of thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that. It could just be set in an area in Canada, and whatever happens. Like it doesn't have to be real.
True.
It could just be like made up. But anyway, my theatre history
Mhm.
is I like linking stuff to the book we're doing because
Good.
yeah. So I researched a little bit about Mexican theatre, and right now it's pretty varied and widespread, and it reflects kind of like the culture and history, which is really cool. It's good to see like theatre from like different cultures, and you can learn more about it, which I love.
It is, yeah.
And it also kind of takes different forms. So they have like street theatre, there's international theatre as well, and they have it in different languages as well. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So our last little section is then about the author. Do you want me to go first, or do
You
you
go
want
first. Yeah, go for it.
So the author, Benjamin, he got a MA degree in creative writing at the University of Texas at El Paso, which is where the book is actually set.
Ooh, yes.
But he went to uni there. And then a little bit after, he got a Wallace E. Stegner Fellowship, which is pretty cool. So he did like a lot of kind of training in creative writing. And I think he's kind of a multi-talented guy because I think he does some painting and drawing as well.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe I should search up his painting. He did talk a lot about like art in Aristotle and Dante.
Yeah. So that's probably where that comes from. That he's a little
probably.
Bit artistic and creative himself, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Two things. First of all, his birthday is close to ours. His birthday
When's
is
his birthday?
August 14th, I believe.
Oh,
At least
yay!
It's like August, like very close to ours. Anyway,
Yay, I love that.
no, August birthdays. And then secondly,
yes.
Apparently he was the first Latino author to win the award, the Penn or Faulkner Award for fiction.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
I love that for him, honestly. Yeah.
He's a very cool guy.
He is very cool. Oh my god, I love all so many authors we've like read from. So great, so cool. They've done so much. Also, I didn't think he was that old. No offense. No offense, Benjamin.
Oh, he is pretty old. He started publishing books kind of late, which I love because it just like shows that you don't have to do it when you're really young. Like there's no like competition.
Yeah, you can start whatever.
You can still be like 70 and publish a book if you want. Like, why not? Do you know what I mean?
You can be like Alice and start and publish a book around the age of like 19, or be like Benjamin publish. I'm not sure when he published this one.
Should I have a look?
Yeah.
I don't think it was maybe 2018. Let me see.
19. I'm not sure how old he was. He was decently old, I think, because he was born in 1954.
Published. Oh, 2012. It's because the sequel to it was only published, I think, 2019. So that's why I was thinking it was early. But 2012.
Yeah, because he's 68 right now. So minus 8 years from now, so he was like 60.
Yeah, as he should, you know.
60. Oh no, minus 10 because 12. So he is 52.
No. I don't know maths.
58.
Okay.
He's 58 when he published this book.
You don't need to add this in, but just a reminder, I'm meeting Adam on Saturday.
Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah, like through a call, right? Or is it
book signing? I'm like actually seeing him in person.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna post it to our Instagram and Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah. Would you what?
We should post the photo of you going to see Adam for
okay.
Or at least like you post it and then like
you can repost it. Yeah, but I'm not doing that because that's kind of narcissistic. You can do it.
Okay.
Because if I don't know, that's just okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited.
Yay.
He said to bring as many books as I want, so I'm gonna bring the Adam
Good,
books I
as
have.
you
with me.
should.
I'm gonna bring. They both die at the end. History's All You Left Me, and then his new one.
Good.
Because I don't have that. There was this picture, because I'm always going through his stories because it's so cute to see all the people at the signings.
Yeah.
And there was this person with like a big stack of Adam books, and I just love that.
Love that. I want to get more.
Me too. I recommend History's All You Left Me, but when you're emotionally stable, because it wrecked me. I'm not joking.
Good.
Like literally, because the past few days I've been so stressed and emotional because of the stuff with this house, I literally can't start the new book because I'm already emotional. And like the book is apparently really sad, so I don't want to start it when like I'm not in a good mentally health space. So
I mean, I still haven't finished the second book by like the Aristotle and Dante, the second one. I still haven't finished it. Maybe just I haven't really been feeling like reading recently, or it's just I don't know.
I really want to reread it, but it's so emotional. Like I don't know if I can do it.
Sometimes when things are like overly emotional, I can't get into it.
I love emotional
I
stuff.
have to be in a certain mood.
Yeah, as long as like I can read it whenever, but because right now I'm just like I've been so stressed and anxious. Like if I would read it, it'd be one word and I would just be crying on the floor, and I don't want that for me right now.
Well, I like so many other things in my mind of things to do that it's just like yeah.
It's like when I finished reading, the second Ari and Dante book, because for half the book I was basically sobbing my eyes out because it's a lot, the second book.
Yeah.
As soon as I finished it, I was like, I need a break from reading like altogether for a minute because that was like a lot. A lot. Okay, I'm gonna go now.
Wait, we need to end it off. We can't just like leave.
I forgot.
Okay.
Because I thought we were just having a conversation and then I forgot. Go ahead.
Anyway, thanks we're gonna end it off here.
Wait, what's our next episode about?
The next episode is
male mental health, right?
Yeah, male mental health, which is great. It's such a great topic, honestly.
I think it's because I was thinking mental health, but male mental health is something like kind of underrated, I think. So
no one talks about it very much.
Yeah,
which I think should be discussed more. We'll talk about it in the next episode.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to look into it more because obviously I know about it, but I don't think I know enough about it.
Yeah, same.
But anyway, take it away.
Anyway, thank you for joining us in our 10th episode, I think.
Yeah, we've done 10 episodes.
We have 10 so far.
That's very cool.
That's great. Like I know we have like had like a slow summer, but the fact that we got this far through it is impressive, I think.
I'm very proud.
Yeah. Big accomplishment for us.
Yeah.
And if you want to like continue watching us, or you want to see any like behind the scenes or promotional stuff from us, you can follow us on our social medias on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and then you also can email us at our email, which is the.burrow.pod@gmail.com. All our social medias will be in the description of YouTube, and I'll also put in the description of the Spotify episode. So
cool.
Yeah, check us out, and then tune in next time when we talk about mental health, male mental health specifically.
Yeah, cool.
Bye bye.